Well, the current Free State head of the Agriculture Department will testify in the 25 million rand Nulane criminal trial tomorrow. Dr. Takisi Masiteng is expected in court tomorrow morning, to be exact. Another witness, Kenosi Rabothoa Thubisi, will return for further cross-examination. Today, the state called a department accountant and the former head of Treasury in the Free State. Well, they testified about money flows involving people linked to Gupta associates, basically. Our reporter on the story is Erin Bates, joins us live now from outside the High Court in Bloemfontein. Erin, break down the highlights of today's testimony.
Yes, Tembekile, I'm going to keep it pulsy since we are on the pulse here, and you'll actually see behind me outside the Free State High Court this very moment former head of department Peter Tabete and Iqbal Sharma, both criminally charged in this case. They're busy consulting with lawyers after today's proceedings, where we heard more about some of those key documents which form evidence in this matter. Tembekile, Thubisi being a low light, not a highlight, because his evidence is really buckled under scrutiny. He will be back tomorrow, but he's contradicted his affidavit in terms of what documents he saw in 2011 around payments from the Free State government to Nulane Investments. We've also heard more on some sundry monies paid to Nulane in March of 2012, and then some details on whether or not it was necessary to get proper sort of sign-off for the feasibility study if it was done after funds were allocated for the Mohuma Mobung venture. The last witness of today saying that it didn't seem to be a public-private partnership. That was mentioned in the World Window Works impacts letter from that Indian New Delhi scrap metal business, and so there were certain things which the state said needed to be in place, which according to his evidence didn't need to be. And so those are just some highlights from the day's proceedings over several hours.
Specifically now about Joseph Moloi, how he fits into the broader picture and what was covered.
Yes, so if we look at Molloy's testimony, I'm just going to have to confirm he was an Agriculture Department accountant. Him giving details on some of the documentation handed to him. He appeared in one of the exhibits that was flighted in court on screen, but he says it was not me. He says it was a colleague, a Molaosi, who actually signed on his behalf as he was not in the office that day. He does, however, say that he was involved in another payment of some 4 million rand to Nulane Investments, but his testimony in brief or in broad strokes, Tembekile, was that the documentation before him gave him every indication that he should sign it off and process it through the system. And that's useful testimony for the likes of Saipati Dlamini, the former CFO in the department. She's represented here by Willem Edeling, Senior Counsel, because he's already shown us through his cross-examination that he's going to argue his client did the right thing as best she knew with the information before her, and that she was not involved in a scheme of fraud, and that she had no design or intent to flout the Public Finance Management Act. That doesn't let the other 5 accused here off the hook, including the alleged Gupta associates, Dinesh Patel, Iqbal Sharma behind me, and of course Ronika Raghavan. And Tembekile, important just to underline, this baby Estina case is all about the Guptas. They're conspicuous by their absence, but if the state fails to persuade Acting Judge Mpumelelo Gusha that it has a case of state capture crimes, it paves the way for the Guptas to potentially get off the hook.
Erin Bates, thank you very much for that update from Bloemfontein.